What is it in the draft constitution now which for you should not be there? Very quickly.
Well, I think things like the Culture and Bill of Rights, there are quite a number of things which are really contradictory. The phase one that is talking about the preamble talks about we believe in God, we believe in those kind of things. Then you go to the Bill of Rights. Again, you repeat the same things. It actually goes back to what Mheshimiwa was talking about. A lot was actually picked from the various documents that were there, but without proper, really, harmonization, so that we have clear document that really talks about from one point, what are we really trying to do? Align this document to a given vision within, that we have stated. The preamble is not a vision, with all due respect. A vision is one statement that you actually aspire to achieve. You cannot have a vision that has 5 or 6 different, statements. It's like what we are talking about in the school Vision 2030 that has 3 pillars. You'll actually be chasing a mirage, according to me.
All right. Let me come to you, Muturi. When we say here that the draft constitution is too prescriptive, quote unquote, is it not a hedge against a rogue parliament? Isn't that a valid argument, that you need a prescriptive constitution to deal with rogue MPs?
Well, unless then we are saying that we as Kenyans do not see a point in time when we shall stop having rogue MPs.
And why not? Is it that MPs cannot rise to the occasion and actually be leaders proper?
That's why I'm saying, why should we be so prescriptive? We have existing laws which are being lifted from wherever they are being put in the Constitution. A very, very obvious example is the Political Parties Act, with all its inadequacies, which was a bill passed, an act of parliament passed in 2007. It has been lifted and put in the draft, in the harmonized draft. Is it not possible to provide for, just as in a statement, that there will be a law governing registration, administration, internal and whatever,
but
of political parties?
Here's the thing. As a Kenyan taxpayer, when you have, say, for example, and this is a favorite argument I have, special tribunal, MPs were supposed to sort that thing out at least a year and a half ago. At least a year and a half. To date, there's still none. And the last time that bill, the one Imanyara had, was brought to Parliament, there are only 9 legislators in there. The House was practically empty. Now, in that instance, really, if you're paying someone 800 grand a month for that, what return are you getting? That's a waste of time and money. If someone behaved like that in your house, what would you do?
Let me say this. I think they will be mixing issues. If we do a constitution to govern how MPs should work, then I think we have missed it. And with respect to what my friend Miguna said, that we haven't written constitutions, I'm not too sure that any of us can claim that he has written a constitution for any country. We have read many constitutions of very, very many countries and organizations and things like those. We have even actually participated or even written documents that you can call constitutions. But we cannot say that our constitution here is going to say Parliament should behave like this, MPs must sit for so many hours. That is a matter that should be left to the standing orders of the House. Provide for the establishment of standing orders so that they are anchored in the Constitution. But don't go and pick them,
and then put them in the Constitution.
And put them in the Constitution.
All right.
Surely a constitution is a document that...
I'm sorry, I'll have to jump in there because we really do need to go into an ad break. But the debate does continue. The big question, of course, just a quick reminder of that particular point. Will the draft constitution survive political intrigues this time round? Send in your responses, yes or no, to the number 8040. We'll sample your views right at the end on this live newscast. Gentlemen, we were back in the middle of one heated debate concerning our constitution, our draft constitution, to be specific. Let me start off with a comment here from one particular individual who actually wrote in and said that, well, MPs unfortunately must have everything about them legislated, how many hours you work, what exactly you should be earning. As a former legislator, Justin, does that argument make sense to you?
Yeah, I think it makes some sense.
Some sense.
In the context of Kenya, I think MPs will need to be legislated on some aspects.
What aspects?
Especially how long, how many hours qualify to somebody to be called a sitting. Because the practice appears not to have, after 1992, 1997, 2002, the culture of technical appearances would end. We thought it was, immediately after the multi-party elections in 92, we thought maybe a lot of MPs who came in did not quite understand, and therefore they thought it's a way of doing business to sneak in for 2 minutes and walk out, and yet that they qualify for a sitting allowance for having done that kind of thing. But unfortunately, it has persisted. We see it even today. I'm not too sure that if we put it in the Constitution, that would be the best way. But of course, since there's the recall clause, which appears to be very popular with Kenyans, perhaps that may be an entry point.
All right, Miguna.
I think it is about accountability. What the listener there is responding to is that they want full accountability for public funds. People pay public servants, including MPs, from their tax money, and they would want to believe that you are actually earning the money. So if it means that your hours of work would have to be legislated, so be it. Whether or not the actual hours should be in the Constitution is of course up for debate, but I wouldn't have a big problem with it. But Rama, to go back to a point that I think I wanted to emphasize, you see, MPs are representatives of the people. That is the only way people get accountability from government. And so it would be important to make sure that the Constitution have provisions that deal with MPs and that also entitle MPs to make certain decisions on behalf of the population. Otherwise, you would not have a democracy, a functioning democracy, because the people only exercise their rights through their representatives, elected representatives. So if you have a bad group, quote unquote, representatives, the people are the ones who elected them. So until they change them, those are their representatives. And those representatives must do certain things that representation entail. And that would include making sure that they check the executive to account. So if appointments, for example, have to be vetted, it has to be vetted through the representatives.